This episode goes out to my pops, who always believed that I could. Welcome to the Solo Grind, where we shine a light on the raw and real journey of being a solo entrepreneur. I am Teresa, your guide on this adventure of going it alone, without a safety net and without the rule book. The grind is real, my friend, and so are the wins, the freedom, and the joy of building success on your own terms. I'm here to debunk the myths, share some laughs, and share what it takes to thrive as a go-getter, busy, doing it all entrepreneur. Hi, welcome to the Solo Grind. I am so excited you are here. I am your host, Teresa Schloop, the original caffeine creative, and it is my day job to help incredible, amazing solo entrepreneurs stand out and get noticed in a busy entrepreneurial world through branding, website design, and digital marketing. And I do this by helping people be 100% authentically genuine to who they really are. Because at the end of the day, that is what people are attracted to when it comes to hiring businesses, services, and the such. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in and you want to learn more, I invite you to check out my website at caffeinecreative.io and scroll down into the show notes if you want to reach out and get in touch. All of my best contact information is listed there, and I would love to have a conversation with you. But right now, we are here for the podcast, the Solo Grind podcast, my little baby who is coming up at the end of season 2. And again, as I said, this month we're talking about limitations, and it's limitations that people tend to put on us when they just don't believe that we can succeed. It's not that they don't believe in us. They have a hard time believing in themselves. And that's kind of what we're going to be continuing on talking about in today's conversation, particularly when it comes to people who tell you that you cannot do something. Okay. I don't know about you, but throughout pretty much my entire life, I have had people who wanted to hold me back and tell me you can't do that, or some other variation of those words. Okay. Now, for the most part, the people telling me that, their intentions were good. They love me. I know they love me. They genuinely thought that they were protecting me from failure or disappointment or something else. The reality is that I also know they deep down, I know they wanted to believe in me, but I also know that they had a hard time believing in themselves. It's really difficult for us to believe in anything or anyone if we don't believe in ourselves. Let me silence my phone really quick. Okay. If we don't believe in ourselves, it's hard to believe in somebody else. And that's pretty common. Honestly, a lot of the people, if you look around the people in your own life, unfortunately, a lot of us have limitations we put on ourselves. We don't believe in how amazing we truly are, and we don't see our own true potential. And that's kind of common. And those are the people who are giving us advice who don't believe in those big dreams and those goals that we can accomplish. And that is what I have. A lot of those people in my life. Again, they love me. They just can't believe in themselves. So here's kind of the thought process when something happens. When I would say, I am going to do this big, bold, bodacious thing, the people that I was talking to would immediately start thinking about themselves. And if they were to do something like that, they would let their fears start to creep in, and they would start imagining all these worst case scenarios that could happen. They would begin thinking about what boundaries did we need to put in place to protect me, boundaries that actually created limitations. And then they would follow up with, you can't do that. And usually a reason as to why I couldn't. The crazy thing about this whole process is that these fears and doubts and worries and concerns and all of this is so ingrained in us from a very early age that the thoughts, emotions, and all the things that were happening would literally take place in a matter of seconds, maybe even less than a second. And it would be immediate that they would get to a conclusion that you cannot do this. Okay. So this, honestly, like I said, has happened to me probably as long as I can remember. And I know that I'm not alone. I actually have a story, and this is why today's episode is dedicated to my pops. I remember when one of the very first times that I heard can't in a big way that tried to limit me. Okay, so imagine a little 8-year-old Terry, as I was called, and knobby knees and whatever. I was, crazy hair, all the things, right? And we were at a basketball banquet. So as an 8-year-old, my dad was the basketball coach of rec basketball in our town, and I was on the team. Okay. We're at this banquet. My neighbor friend of mine, Tessa, and I were bored with the banquet because, I mean, like, how long do you want to sit around and listen to parents brag about their kids and hand out awards? So we went out into the courtyard of the school, in McAllister School, where we were doing the banquet. And in the courtyard, there was these benches, these in a circle. Okay, these concrete benches that were in a circle. So Tessa and I were out there and we were playing on these benches. Well, it didn't take long for a couple of the boys from the banquet to get bored as well and come out and see what we were doing. And they decided that we couldn't play there, that we are dumb girls and we couldn't play there. And so they tried to start bullying us. Okay. And I don't need to go into a big old deal. It's not a big deal. It's normal kid stuff. But they were trying to bully us and to kick us out of that area and tell us that we can't play there because we're dumb girls and we aren't even good at basketball. And what are we even doing here? And all the things. Okay. Rude, although true. I was terrible at basketball. And actually, I don't really like basketball, which is probably why I was terrible at it, but they didn't know that. All I knew was that here was somebody in front of me telling me that I cannot do something. Okay. And I'm not going to lie, it had me all kinds of riled up. So I decided to stand my ground. Now, Tessa, being 3 years younger than me, she was behind me. Honestly, I'm not sure what she was doing, but she is honestly one of the most empowered women that I know to this day. She's an incredible badass woman as a grown up. So I have no doubt that she was standing her ground right there with me, even though I was trying to put her behind me because she was younger. So we're getting bullied. And of course, the ruckus gets the attention of our parents. And it just so happens that they push Tessa down as our parents come running out. Okay. So they come running out. Our moms are the first ones to get there. And they are like, what's going on? And what do you think our mom said as soon as they realized what had happened? They immediately said, you can't stand up to bullies. You shouldn't have been playing here. You should have run away. So right there again, so here I have these bullies telling me that I can't play because I'm a girl. And then I have my mom telling us the same thing. And here at the moment, like, I was being proud of myself for standing up, or I had felt proud of myself for standing up for myself. And then yet all of a sudden I felt like I was doing something wrong because everybody around me is telling me that I shouldn't have been there and that I can't stand up to bullies and I can't play on concrete benches and I can't, whatever. It was weird. Here was the powerful moment of this story. Okay. My pop swooped in as our moms were being moms. Okay. They were being concerned. They were doing what moms do. Moms are there to protect us and to keep us from harm. And that's what they do. And sometimes running is the best way to do that. Okay. So they were being good moms, right? And the bullies, their parents were taking care of them. They're probably really decent guys. I have no idea what happened to these guys. I don't even know what their names are, honestly. But their parents were not impressed with how they were behaving. So I'm pretty sure they turned out to be solid guys because they had a good foundation with those parents, right? But what was powerful about this moment, as I'm rambling, my apologies, is my dad. My pops pulled me aside and he said, I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. Don't ever let others tell you that you can't do something. Okay. That's what he told me. This is probably one of those powerful, pivotal moments. Sorry, stumbling on that word. In my life where it paved the course of my path forward. I guarantee this is one of those moments when I made the choice that nobody was going to tell me that I cannot do something, you know, because my dad was proud of me, because I stood my ground, because somebody saw who I really was in that moment and that I wasn't going to be pushed around by a bully. Okay. It was a powerful moment and it has carved out how I am and how I approach life for moving forward. Moving forward into my life, there have been so many times that somebody has come up to me and said, you can't do that. I know I'm not alone in this. If you are an entrepreneur, you have had a lot of people tell you, you can't do this, especially if you are a woman entrepreneur. And again, I don't want to diminish the journey of men. I can't really speak to your journey as an entrepreneur, but I do know that in our society, women are taught to find someone to teach, to take care of them, and men are taught to be the ones to take care of them. We've both been delivered this crap message from two different sides of the coin. And so we each have these roles that we think we have to play. And we've got people telling us no. When I decided that I wanted to join the Navy, there were so many people who thought that was a terrible idea. I was a woman. I shouldn't be in the Navy, whatever reason was. I don't know what their reason was. I didn't even ask, to be honest with you. Later on, a few years later on, when I discovered that I was going to be a single mom. And this isn't my hubby that I have now. He's been by my side from the moment we got together. But there was a few years when I was, or a year or so, that I was a single mom, and it was not easy, and it was challenging, and it was the right decision for me to be a single mom. But there was a lot of people telling me that I couldn't do it by myself, that I couldn't do it while staying in the Navy, that I couldn't live on my own, that I needed to go home and let my parents take care of me. There was a lot of can't in that moment. Okay. There was, when I decided to leave the Navy and go into the regular workforce. I actually had one of my first jobs out of the Navy was as a senior secretary at a university. And I was very proud of myself that I got a decent job to kind of get my foot in the door at this university. And I actually had somebody tell me that they thought I was in over my head and that I should quit that job because it just was too much for me to handle. Like, seriously, I am a pretty intelligent person. And that was kind of a crap thing to say. Okay. Again, it was their fear that was speaking to me. Okay. It was their fear that was speaking over me, trying to put these boundaries and limitations in place because they assumed that I would fail because they believed they themselves would have failed if they were in that position. That's the thing that's going on. When I launched my business, and that's the one that I think everyone here can relate with. Launching a business is so incredibly vulnerable and it is so challenging. And there's so many people who are out there waiting for you to fail because they believe that they themselves would fail if they were to do this. It's has everything to do with their lack and their lack of belief, with their limitations, with their fears, why people tell us that we can't. Okay. So how do you deal with that? When somebody says you can't do that, what do you say to them? Now, I know in our world, there's a lot of moments where somebody feels like you have to have this big, like, after school special moment where you stand up to the bullies and you prove a point and you prove to the world very visibly, in a very visible way, that you're not going to be held down. Okay. That's nice. But again, that's very after school special, and it's not the reality. The reality here is you don't need to be loud. You don't need to beat your chest. You don't need to be abrasive, obnoxious. You don't need to even address the people who are telling you you cannot do something. I mean, sure, if they're close to you and you love them, you can just smile and give them a sweet, say thank you for your concern. If you want to give them that much, you can just smile and make them wonder what you're really thinking. Sometimes that freaks people out and it's fun to do. Just give it a whirl. Um, but the point I'm trying to make here is that you don't have to be ugly and rude and prove a point. You don't have to have some big grandstand moment that we would see on TV. Okay. You can simply hold your head high and prove them wrong. You can remember, this is one of my mantras. It's another um, line from a song that I love. Songs are so inspirational to me, honestly. Music has been one of the best gifts in my life. But there's this one particular song by Pitbull, it's Can't Have, when he says, I used to think the sky was the limit until I figured there was footprints on the moon. Now I'm like, get out of the way. Okay. And I won't continue on because it's a little derogatory, but basically he's saying there is no limit. We can say the sky is the limit and think that we're busting through ceilings where other people can't even get that high. Whatever the case is, there's no limit to what you can accomplish. And you don't have to be ugly to prove people wrong. You just have to be your own normal, amazing, beautiful self and start checking those boxes, because that's exactly what I did. I didn't listen when people told me you can't do that. I didn't even pay attention. Now, honestly, I don't even hear it when somebody says I can't do it. I don't even tune into the negativity of that at all. Um, I don't even know people are saying it. I just go check off those boxes and continue doing what is in my heart and soul to do. So that is this week's message. You can do it. I do believe in you. And I have no doubt that whatever goals you have set your sights on, you are going to accomplish them. And if you need a cheerleader, reach out, let me know. So shoot me a text if you're listening in podcast apps, message me if you're on YouTube, or use one of my contact methods. I would love to chat with you, to cheer you on, and to remind you that you are a badass and you can do this. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you all next week. And not entirely sure what we're going to be talking about, but it's going to be about breaking through those ceilings even more, because this is how I want to finish off season 2, inspiring you to be the very best that you can be. Have a great week, and I will see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in to the Solo Grind. I hope this episode brought you some inspiration and encouragement. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast, and feel free to share. For more tips and insights, visit caffeinecreative.io to check out my blog or explore the Creative Vault, my free course library. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. I'd love to hear how this episode has helped you.